everyone, and welcome back to Music Explained. In this presentation, as promised, we're going to learn how to play all the major scales with sharps today, using the whole step half step diagram. Please look up my previous video on major scales so you can learn about the whole steps and half steps pattern. Before we go into all the sharp major scales, we need to talk about accidentals. An accidental is a symbol that raises or lowers a pitch or note by a half step or whole step. This is called the double sharp. It raises a note for a whole step. This symbol is a sharp. It raises a note for a half step. We have the natural symbol that cancels all previous accidentals. This is the flat symbol. It lowers a note for a half step. And the double flat symbol, which lowers a note for a whole step. Now let's take a look at the C major scale diagram. Here we also have the scale degrees, and they will help us figure out how to build all the other major scales. Now remember, we needed to have a half step between 3 and 4 and a half step between 7 and 1. Let's try and make the rest of our scales the same way. I'm going to refer to the circle of fifths for the order of major scales we're going to be forming. In the middle or the top of the circle of fifths, we have C major. C major has no sharps and no flats. If we move to the right side of the circle, we're gonna go into the major scales with sharps. And if we move to the left side, we're gonna see the major scales with flats. How are we gonna find out which one is our next major scale with a sharp? We're gonna take the fifth scale degree of C, which is the note G. And there we have G major with our first sharp. If we take the fifth scale degree of G, we're gonna come to D. D has two sharps. Next is A major, E major, B major, F sharp major, and C sharp major. If we take a look on the white keys of an G to G octave, we will not be able to find the same patterns of whole steps and half steps that occurred in the C to C octave. Here we have whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step. For us to be able to play the G major scale, we will need to use one of the accidental symbols that is going to be a sharp symbol. We will need to raise the note F to F sharp, and that means we're gonna have to play the black key that is between F and G. G major scale: G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. Following the whole step, half step pattern, knowing that we need a half step between 3 and 4 and 7 and 1, we raised F a half step up to F sharp. G major is a scale with one sharp accidental. Now you can continuously use the sharp sign in front of the note F, or you can place it at the beginning on the staff after the treble clef, right here. Let's listen to G major. B major scale: D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. If we look at the whole step half step diagram, we know that we need a half step between the third and fourth scale degree and the seventh and the first scale degree. That is why we raised F to F sharp a half step, and we raised C to C sharp a half step. D major is a scale with two sharp accidentals. Remember, you can always place them at the beginning of the music staff after the treble clef. Let's listen to D major. A major scale: A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. We raised C to C sharp, F to F sharp, and G to G sharp. That means we raised the third scale degree, the sixth scale degree, and the seventh scale degree a half step up. A major is a scale with three sharp accidentals: F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. Let's listen. E major scale: E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, and E. Here we needed to raise the second degree, F to F sharp, the third degree, G to G sharp, the sixth degree, C to C sharp, and the seventh degree, D to D sharp. E major is a scale with four sharp accidentals. You can always use the sharp sign in front of all the notes, or just place them all on the beginning of the staff after the treble clef. Let's listen to E major. B major scale: B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, and B. To follow the whole step half step diagram, here we needed to raise 5 notes. Scale degree 2, we go from C to C sharp. Scale degree 3, from D to D sharp. Then we have scale degree 5, F to F sharp. Scale degree 6, G to G sharp. And scale degree 7, A to A sharp. B major scale is a 5 sharp accidentals scale. F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, and A sharp. Let's listen to B major. F sharp major scale: F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, C sharp, D sharp, E sharp, F sharp. Yes, I think you've noticed. Almost the whole scale is played on the black keys on the piano, except the note B. There is one more thing I think I should mention here. The 7th degree E needed to be raised a half step up. But between E and F there is no black key, which means this is already a half step. So E sharp is gonna be played on the F key. F sharp major is a scale with 6 accidentals: F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, and E sharp. Let's listen. Welcome to C sharp major scale, the last major scales of the sharps family on the right side of the circle of fifths. Here all the keys needed to be raised a half step up. We have C going to C sharp, D, D sharp, E goes to F, F goes to F sharp, G goes to G sharp, A goes to A sharp, and same thing, B. For us to be able to raise it a half step up, and there is no black key here, which means this is already a half step, B sharp is gonna be played on the C key on the piano. The C sharp major scale have 7 sharp accidentals: F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, E sharp, and B sharp. Let's listen to it. Another way to learn the major scales is to memorize the key signature associated with the scales. The term key in music is used to identify the first degree of a scale. A key signature is a pattern of sharps or flats that appears at the beginning of the staff and indicates that certain notes or pitches are consistently raised or lowered. There are 7 key signatures using sharps, and in each, the name of the major key can be found by going a half step up from the last sharp. Let's take a look at G major. G major has 1 sharp, F sharp. If we go a half step up, we're going to see the note G, which indicates G major. D major. The last sharp is C sharp. If we go a half step up, it's going to be the note D, which indicates the name D major. A major. We have the last sharp, G sharp. If we go a half step up, it's going to be the note A, which indicates A major. For E major, the last sharp is D sharp. If we go a half step up, it's going to be E, which indicates the name E major. For B major, the last sharp is A sharp. If we go a half step up, it's going to be B, B major. For F sharp major, the last sharp is E sharp. If we go a half step up, we're going to go to F sharp, which indicates F sharp major. For C sharp major, the last sharp is B sharp. If we go a half step up, we're going to the C sharp note, which indicates the C sharp major scale. This was everything I wanted to talk about today concerning the major scales with sharps. Stay tuned for my next video in which you're going to learn how to play the major scales with flats. Thank you so much for watching, and please like and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.